Well, Dan, here we go again. Start of a new season. Is this? Does it feel any different from any other season as you sort of progress in your career, or is it just the same as it would have been last year as 10 years ago?
First phrase that pops into mind is business as usual. I think I made no secret of the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of pre-season. I way prefer the hustle and bustle of championship football, and when it actually means something. I'm not saying that pre-season doesn't mean anything. It's more just that when you get in your rhythm of playing games Saturday, Tuesday, 3 points are on the line, and you're really trying to achieve what the ultimate goal is. That's when I feel that I thrive off of that pressure, and that the importance of the game time.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what it is, isn't it? It's preparation for when it really matters, which is this coming weekend. It's always difficult to tell, isn't it? Because every club, I've never been to any team before the start of the season that doesn't feel confident ahead of it. Do you feel you're better placed than you maybe this time last year or the year before to do what you want to do this time?
I'd say finishing last season the way we did, after a very, very indifferent season as a team, I would say I'm way more confident now than I was 3 months ago. Just simply because of the last month of the season. I thought we were very, very efficient in what we did. We took care of business in some of the games where perhaps prior to that we might not have performed in the same manner. I'll use the whole game as an example, and obviously it has some relevance. Not that I think that's going to have any bearing on Saturday whatsoever, because I truly believe it doesn't and won't. But we took care of business. We were shrewd, we were efficient, we were clinical, and we can only beat what was in front of us on the day. And that was probably my favourite performance of ours across the whole of last season, or one of them at least. And we could have quite easily, in games and months and years gone by, conceded in that, and it become like a 5-1 or a 4-3 or something like that, and it kind of goes the other way. But that was a really good one. So in terms of where I think we're at, I think we're in a good place. Pre-season has been, I say I don't like pre-season, which I'm not a fan. However, this has probably been my favourite pre-season since I've been a pro, just because of the way that it's run, the way we've performed when we've had games. Training has obviously been very, very intense. I think you've seen in the games that we've played that we're very, very fit, and it's actually been enjoyable. Obviously it's a grind at times, but very enjoyable as well. So in answer to your first question, yes, I think we're better placed. I think we're very, very confident, but not overly confident to the point where we think we're going to go and win every game in the season. We understand that there's going to be ebbs and flows during the season, and we have to manage them when they come.
Yeah. One of the real positives about the sort of last month of last season was it was easy to pinpoint how you were trying to play as a team, and this is what we're trying to do to the opposition. And at times during the season that was there, and at other times it maybe wasn't. Do you feel that you've got a bit more identity, for want of a better word?
For sure, and that's something that the manager has been trying to implement from day one, and that takes time. You often hear managers who don't get time bemoan the fact that they haven't got the time to implement their own ideas, and that is true, because managers have their own identities, their own styles, their own way of playing. Sometimes players don't fit the manager's style or identities, so the manager then has to make changes. And I think if you probably, I don't want to speak for the manager, but I'm sure he's probably happy with the team he's got, and he's also looking forward and confident to the season.
So first game, it's only 3 points like any other match, but important to try and get off to a good start to reinforce that positive end to last season and what's been a good pre-season.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. I think last season's gone, don't be wrong. I'm not kind of hanging on last season, or kind of, do I think that form from last season or pre-season will come into Saturday and beyond? No, but I do believe in momentum. And momentum brings form, and that will start from the first game. So if we can get good momentum, dragging on from last season, dragging on from pre-season where we've performed well, and we can take that into Saturday and then kind of recreate that momentum and form into the season, then it becomes its own form of momentum into the season. So I'm hoping that we can take our positive experiences from the last 8 weeks or so, including the back end of last year, and go and make a stamp in the Championship this year.
Superb. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
I spoke to a couple of players in pre-season for games, and I like the positive change of atmosphere in comparison to 12 months ago. Just wondering how you kind of feel like the change has been.
I've always thought there's been a very good atmosphere here. We've always, any player that's been at this club since I've been here, I've got on with. I mean, I'm fairly laid back anyway, so I don't imagine to ever have issues with anybody, but we've got a good, honest, professional group, and that's off the pitch as well as on it. So in terms of atmosphere, I think it's been consistently good. I think atmosphere is also driven from results, driven from performances, driven from culture, and all of those things we've had and done well in recent times. And pre-season is there to set those standards come the start of the season. So we get the time to bond, we get the time to go on a pre-season tour. We can form relationships on and off the pitch, obviously with the new boys that we've got, and build on old relationships as well. So with all those things in mind, I think we're well placed in terms of the atmosphere to continue to drive the culture that we have, which will only set us in good stead on Saturdays and match days.
As a captain, I'm sure you've got a responsibility of trying to generate that positive atmosphere and culture. But what have you kind of done with the new signings to kind of integrate into the squad? Do you have to arrange, for example, barbecues or team meals, or what is your role?
Well, there's been a few things. We've done a couple of team bonding sessions, if you like, with regards to going out for some food. We had an afternoon here that was staff included as well, where the chefs and everyone put on some food and drinks and stuff for us here. So that was really nice. And then in terms of when each player signed, I asked our player liaison, Matt Parsons, for their number, formally obviously welcomed them to the club and just said if you need anything, obviously I'm here. A couple of them have asked various bits over the weeks and months. And there's also I've actually got my other half to sort out a night out for the other halves of all the players. So they're all getting together at some stage. Don't quote me on the date. I have no idea. I kind of left her to that. So yeah, I'm not exactly saying that she's the captain of the girls or anything like that. But I think it was important that I could influence her maybe to say, look, can you get the girls together? Because ultimately, when players move, they move their whole families usually. And if your family life and your family are happy, then it's only going to help and benefit what happens on the pitch. So if the girls of the other half of the rest of the players and the new players feel welcome, then I only think that can enhance the relationships that we all have as individuals, as families, on match days when they're all in the players' lounge. All those little things can help, especially if people who are new to the area feel welcome.
And just remind me to congratulate you on the engagement.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I was watching the Forest Green game, and when they scored to make it 3-1, you could almost hear the cries of frustration from you in the goal. I was wondering, where kind of does that, I don't know, I guess it's a desire to succeed, or is it maybe perfectionist or something? Where does that come from? Is that stemmed from as you were a kid, or was that's always been part of your game when you come to grow as a player?
Well, firstly, let me apologise if there was any expletives used, because I'm sure if there was anyone close enough to me, to be fair, you probably wouldn't have had to have been close, because I did shout quite loud. So I apologise if anything was caught. So yeah, but no, it's I am a perfectionist, but I also realise that perfection is like a never-ending goal, really. So not everything has to be perfect. Obviously, I'd like to get as close to it as possible, and that is something I try to strive for every single day in training. But I also realise that sometimes keeping the ball out of the net isn't perfect. and football isn't perfect, and situations in games don't often represent what I do on a training day. If what I'm trying to do is all clean, perfect and tidy, sometimes it's about being effective, and I pride myself on being effective first, followed by then can I make it tidy, can it be well presented, and that's not for anybody else or for it to look the part. That's just for that exuding reassurance, if you like. That's important as well, because if everything's rash and messy and unclean, then that's not the message and the feel that I want to give, especially to those in front of me. I want them to feel calm. I want them to feel reassured, knowing that if they make a mistake or if there's good play, I'm there to mop it up behind them, and I'm going to do it in a calm, effective fashion. And I'm not being funny. If I make a save and it comes off my nose or my ears or my little toe and it stays out the goal, then on occasions I'll have to take that. But it's not stemmed from anything specific. Like, I haven't had a specific driver to go, right, I'm going to need to go and be perfect. I need to go and get frustrated when I concede. It's just within me. I've got a very willing drive not to concede goals. I guess it helps being a goalie. But at the same time, it's just something that I do every single day. Every single day I'm trying to be the best version of myself, trying to improve, trying to maximise every single thing that I've got. And whether that's learning new things, whether it's building on old things, whether it's changing things, whatever I need to do to be better, I will invest time and energy into doing so. So yeah, I mean, I hope that answers your question in a weird way.
As a perfectionist, what kind of constitutes success to you? This is well to you on a personal level and as a team?
Definitely conceded less goals than what we did last year. We conceded way more than what we would like to last year. Obviously, it was well documented that the lads at the higher end of the pitch did their job, and they did it very, very well. And yes, we attack and defend as a team. So as defenders or a defensive unit, we take a small bit of credit for when things are going well for them, and they take a small bit of credit for when things are going well for us, because, like I said, we're an 11. We do what we do as a unit, as one, and obviously there's individual units within that. But as a defensive unit, we were really disappointed to concede the amount we did last year. We were poor on set plays defensively. We conceded too many goals from set plays. There was too many individual mistakes, and individual mistakes happen. So there's not. I don't think there's a fear with anyone to make a mistake. We've all done it. We all will do it, and it's the same if a striker misses a sitter. It's the same as a defender or myself letting in a clanger. That happens, but often it's us as judged on reliability that will be judged on. If we make a clanger, it's more obvious. So in terms of what success looks like for us, I would say we want to go and challenge. Obviously, we don't want to be mediocrely sitting kind of in the middle of the bottom half or any further down. We want to go and see if we can make headway and get in and amongst the top half and see where that takes us. I mean, I'm not going to start putting numbers on points or numbers on places as to what the aims are, but we're certainly looking upwards with glass half full rather than glass half empty, and we don't want to be looking over our shoulders.
How difficult was it to prepare for Hull when there's a couple of new strikers coming in, and we can't really, obviously first game of the season, you've really seen them in action? How difficult was it to prepare for that and what you're about to face?
In my opinion, it makes zero difference. We deal with whatever we deal with. I think based on how they've recruited. I mean, they recruited a lad last year who turned out to be very good, but we've all seen that some signings turn out to be good and some don't. We can't obviously prejudge that or have any preconceptions of what might be. We have to take what we face on the day and be ready for any eventuality. So that's why we do our training. We do our homework as best as we can for what we may face. We'll look at clips, we'll look at tactics and the way they play, but we need to be ready for anything. and that might sound a little bit cliche, but like you say, we've not seen some of the players in Championship action before, so we don't know how they're gonna react to that situation. So we need to be ready for whatever happens.
I've got a question I've been meaning to ask you. It's a bit of a strange one, but the lap of honour at the end of the whole game last season, I saw a picture of you and Callas.
I know what you're going to say.
You had your kids on your arm and tipping you on your head or whatever, and Callas is holding a little plastic. I just need to know what it is.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Well, I think you guys have known before that I've said that Tom and Tim are my two favourite weirdos, and they're both freaks in the nicest possible way. So I'm not sure what that makes me. If they're the two that I kind of gravitate towards, does that make me a freak as well? I'm not really sure, but I don't mind either way. If it does, then I'm cool. But the doll that he had was my eldest's favourite doll. So that doll comes everywhere with us. Like goes to bed with her and everything. Like she absolutely adores it. And obviously Tom and I are very close, and our families are close. And he's babysat my kids before, and we spend a lot of time together as families. And my eldest was actually obviously saw the doll in Tom's hands and thought it was hilarious. So he was obviously cradling the doll, which looked really freaky. But hopefully that clears a little bit up of that. He's weird. He's a weirdo. He's a freak, but not in a weird way. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, maybe do a double take here. Thanks for doing that.
No, pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, Anne. In regards to the championship this season, you are someone that looks at the opposition at all, do you have any predictions on who might perform well, or is it a case of just performing on what you can do?
I think that's $1 million question. I think I always see on social media that so-and-so has predicted that this is going to be the league, and so-and-so has predicted that that's the league, and this is the comparisons, and this is how far they are away from each other, and blah, 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 blah. I don't listen to any of that. I've got no interest whatsoever in what certain ex-pros or pundits think of what might be. Obviously they've got a job to do and they've got a right to an opinion, and everyone will have an opinion and a prediction as to where we will finish if they're related to Bristol City Football Club. I don't have predictions. I wouldn't even call it a prediction, but our remit is to go and do our jobs on the pitch and not worry about anybody else. Yes, we'll obviously do our diligence on everybody else in terms of who we play against. That's just obviously a formality, but we won't be worrying about who's expected to be near the top, who's expected to be near the bottom, and we certainly won't be listening to anything else, any of the social noise that comes with, well, so and so expects Bristol City to be 18th or whatever the case may be. I don't pay any attention, but we're certainly not listening to that. We just go on the pitch, do our jobs in the week to make sure we're prepared for each game and take each game as it comes.
Because internally it feels like inside the club and also the fan base, it feels like it could be a better season than last season. And like you said on earlier, that it seems like the club's looking up rather than down. For
sure, yeah, we're like I just said there, we're way more glass half full, I would say, than what we were a year ago, than what we were 6 months ago around Christmas time. When last year was very, very indifferent. We were very inconsistent last year. We'd pull a very positive result out and then go and concede after being maybe 1-0 up, and we'll go concede in the last minute, and it's all doom and gloom again. Those are the things that this year we will be trying our best to eradicate. And it's not just conceding late. Obviously that happens, and it became a bit of a trend last year. It happened way too many times. I think if you'd have put all our points back on from last 5-minute goals conceded, then we'll be in a much better place. And that's a small detail. It's a big difference, but a small detail. So if we can get those small details right, which is game management, which is having that little bit of nous in the final knock-ins of games, learning how to take the lead and sustain it, how to sustain periods of pressure, and having the mentality to kind of stand up to that pressure, then it will set us in good stead.
And those reinforcements, perhaps Callum, who's been there in some playoffs last season, also Kane Wilson, who's hungry as well. But is that perhaps going to be the recipe to success, to cutting out perhaps conceding so many goals last season?
I think it was a shift in mentality with everybody. So do the additions help, and can they add small bits of experience, positivity and detail to what we're trying to do? Absolutely. But are they going to come in and completely kind of flip reverse what we're doing, and then they're the saviour? No, obviously they're small parts of the jigsaw. The jigsaw is a big one where we all have to fit in and play our part. So in terms of Cal coming in, yes, he adds a lot of voice and experience to the back line, which will only help me, will only help the lads around him. Kane obviously is younger, but is off the back of a fantastic season in which he was Team of the Year. So he deserves his move, and he deserves to be here, and hopefully he comes in and recreates what he did last year with us. Sykesy has come in and been formidable in pre-season, absolutely brilliant. He's playing against Bournemouth the other day at right wing back, is a position I'm almost certain isn't very familiar to him, and did a fantastic job. So again, they're three lads that have come in and done very well, that have all got their own degree of pedigree, and will be certain welcome additions to what we've got already.
And then, of course, obviously Stefan's coming in as well. Last year between yourself and Max Wilson, there's a viewer facing in Stefan. Obviously, he's been injured to start with. Is there what unique quality, because obviously goalkeepers have unique qualities, have you seen something in Stefan, and do you relish the challenge of another competitor this season?
Haven't seen anything because he's injured. to be quite honest, I can't comment. I don't know. All I know is that Pat Mountain is a fantastic goalkeeper coach. So for him to recruit somebody, I would imagine that he would have cast a very watchful eye over whoever came in. Stefan's here, and I wish him well. Obviously, he will add to our goalkeeping department, which is very, very strong anyway. So he will add whatever he will bring. Obviously, I guess I'll make that judgment as and when I see him train. But obviously, I'm sure it's been well documented that he's injured. So the quicker he gets fit, the stronger we'll be as a goalkeeping department, and the more stronger options we have, I guess, is probably the fairest thing I can say. But in terms of the dynamic, it adds healthy competition, so no problem.
And then just lastly, as a club captain, was the time for team meetings at the start of pre-season, or perhaps just before you play, will there be a massive team meeting where yourself as one of the local leaders in that to explain just what is going to happen with the season ahead? I can't explain what's going to happen because I don't know. To be as straight as I can. But we've had chats as lads individually. We've had chats with the gaffer. We know what's expected of us. There will be chats as we go along. So it's not just going to be, look, the season starts Saturday, let's have a big kind of breakdown as to what we expect and what we hope for. It will be an ongoing process as to how we can adapt. So we're not just like a one size fits all from pre-season and then we ride with what we've got. We have to adapt all the way through. And yes, obviously I will be as vocal as I'm needed to be during that process, and that won't stop whether it's pre-season, before the season or during. Obviously it's my role as captain to facilitate anything that needs to happen in terms of chats, in terms of standards. That's something that obviously I'm more than happy to drive, and I've got a core of senior players around me that will only help me as well. And like you said with Cal adds to that. And even the young boys are driving their own standards. You see two new contracts signed for Tommy Conway and Sam Bell over the last 10, 14 days, whatever it's been. They deserve that because they've worked their backsides off and they've been absolutely tremendously professional over the time they've been with the first team, and they deserve to be rewarded for that. So the club have obviously seen fit to make that happen. So in terms of what will happen this week will be business as usual, like I said at the start. It's not about kind of any chats that I'm going to try and draw wisdom from somewhere or try and do anything overly special. It's just going to be business as usual, heads down. We go into the first game confident, and we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you.